So, Jeff, welcome to New Zealand.
Thank you. It's wonderful to have you here. I mean, you're an absolutely legendary character, and of course, I was doing a lot of reading in preparation for this, and you've had such an amazing life.
But I guess the first question I have for you is what's brought you here? Why are you in New Zealand?
I've actually flown through New Zealand about 5 times in my life to the airport. I've never actually been past the airport. And my friend Steve Valier, who you just met, we lived together on Kauai we're around Kauai for 30 years or so. And he just recently, 6 years ago, moved to New Zealand. And he kept going, Jeff, come down here in summertime, Beautiful, it's fantastic. And so just 3 weeks ago, I was in Hawaii and decided to hop on a plane and come down here. So here I am, and he's my tour director.
So fantastic. And have you had a chance to get out in the surf at all?
Yes, I surfed up in shipwrecks about 2 weeks ago. Small swell like this, waves are like this, but what a beautiful setup, just magnificent. And then in Gisborne, some nice beach breaks. No, nothing really substantial, really fun. A lot of beautiful places.
And there are more places to explore, so you'll have to come back.
Yeah, I'm coming back next year for sure. For me, it works out perfect because I live in France now, and in their winter, it's pretty cold. It's nice to come to some sun.
Well, this is the place for it. It's the opposite season.
Especially not too crowded, which is amazing. It actually blows my mind how just uncrowded New Zealand is. I mean, for the beauty and the pristine beaches and the okay surf, pretty good surf, it's like, I don't understand why there's not more people.
Surfing has grown in popularity. I mean, you've seen it in Hawaii, you've seen it in France. In New Zealand, I guess in comparison, it's not so crowded. But I wanted to talk to you today. I'm still surfing, I'm in my mid-60s, and I'm thinking about, well, what do I need to do to keep surfing? What equipment do I need to keep surfing? And I guess what do I have to do for myself to keep surfing? So as you've grown older, what have you done to adjust? What have you changed so that you can keep surfing?
I'm 75 now, so up until about 70, I was pretty bulletproof. Like I just thought, to keep surfing, you just surf, which definitely you have to tweak out, but other factors come into play to keep going. As far as equipment, I've always ridden larger boards, bigger boards, because I grew up in Hawaii in the 60s. And I actually used to knee paddle a lot, which I'm really thankful for now because my neck and back are okay. I alternate, between stomach and prone and knees, but it's not because I consciously just changed or anything. It's just something I was used to my whole life, and it's actually saved my back and neck a little bit because instead of being in that hyper hard arch, especially on really little thin boards, I can alternate to my knees when I'm paddling over sets or something, which keeps this curve. Yeah. It's like more of a natural. It's just a natural position as opposed to that extended hard arch. So, and I've always ridden bigger equipment, and my challenge constantly is how do I get more foam but still have the performance. So that's my constant, I guess my constant mission is how do I get that little bit more foam and still get a railed little set and still at least be able to perform like I like to perform.
Yes, it's a question for us all, and it's one of the ones that I wrestle with. So do you have a quiver of boards, or do you have a favorite board that you ride?
I have in Honolulu on the island of Kauai. I have like big wave equipment, which is big. It's like 10-foot guns. I even have one gun that's 10.6 for when Honolulu gets 12, 15 foot. And then my normal go-to boards are kind of like 9 foot, like 9 foot. They're not long boards, and they're kind of a hybrid longboard, gun log or whatever, Right. So that's what I ride most of the time.
I was watching a video where you were talking with the very famous shaper, Tom Parish, and He said that when he first met you, he was very impressed with your technical knowledge about surfboards. Are you still focused on that now?
I was really fortunate because my parents moved to Hawaii when I was 10 years old in, I think, 1959, 58. And so then in the early 60s, I was a little 13-year-old kid. And my father was a surfer and a diver. His first passion was diving. And so he sort of clicked in. His friends were like Buzzy Trent and Greg Knoll and Peter Cole and Fred Van Dyke and these people. And then I got dragged along as a little kid, and so I got dragged into the lineups and stuff. So kind of as early as 1962, I was getting boards from Brewer, and then later on the North Shore, like Mike Diffenderfer and Bruce Jones and all these different shapers. So at a very young age, I was exposed to a lot of design. Not even though saying that, like, design has changed a lot, obviously, but still, for the time in history, probably some of the best designs were coming out of Hawaii, like always. So I was exposed to those at a very young age, and just kept loving it.
Do you still get very specific about your boards in the way that you used to?
Yeah, like the shapers, for example, Tom Parish. In the early 70s, we were making these boards for Sunset Beach. They were kind of 7'11", and that's what I was running at the time. And I was winning contests and doing very well, hence the name Mr. Sunset. But we're reproducing those boards now just exactly as they were then. And boards have evolved so far past that, but we're doing the same gloss work, the same pin lines, the same stickers, same everything, same fins and everything. So they're more like wall hangers. But yeah, Tom used to make me a board. I'd go, Tom, we got a contest coming up, let's swing off or Duke or something. Back in 72, 73, 74. I go, I got to get a board for the contest is coming up. A couple times he made me boards in 24 hours, like glassing them, everything, shaping them, glassing them. I grab them first thing in the morning, go out in my heat, come back and go, Tom, I need another one. Like, it doesn't work right, And he was fantastic. He had such a good work ethic. He would just go, okay, do another one,
And he's making your boards today?
Oh, I get it. I have a lot of different shapers, Timmy Patterson's made me some really nice guns and some good longboards. Tom Parish has made me some boards. Yeah, there's a really lot of shapers on the planet, and I think the important thing, at least for me, is the communication you establish so the shaper knows what your needs are.
So you've got your board style, obviously, like you have for many, many years. But how do you dial your body in? What have you been doing to keep yourself strong, keep yourself flexible?
Of course, I try to eat healthy. I've definitely had a few valleys and mountains in my life. But I try to eat very healthy. I try to, I should do more stretching and yoga. I don't do that. I should do a lot more of that. Up until about 70, I didn't have to do much. I think everything was sort of good, The last 5 years, other factors have come into play. I could go on and on and on. A lot of it for me comes down to, obviously, health.
Yes.
But there's other factors too, like culture and character. I mean, like, if you let, I think as Jerry Lopez said, is don't let the old man in, So a lot of it's attitude, really attitude. And if you think you're getting old and, you sort of back off and stuff, you are getting old.
Yeah, it's about maintaining that youthful spirit, but hopefully relying on some of that wisdom that you should have developed over the many, many decades.
For me, culture is very important because your surroundings kind of dictate what your passions are and what you do. So if you surround yourself with like-minded people, very, very important. Yeah, super important. And if you lose that, I mean, it's really hard to sustain. Also, as we were talking earlier, I try to do this Heartmath, which is it's a it's there's an app, and you practice on just trying to stay in coherence, with your breathing, your thoughts, and it's like yoga.
Yeah. Kind of a meditation then.
Yeah, it's a meditation, but you can basically click in at any time, and you can see how your thoughts and your breathing affect your coherence. So if you keep everything in unity and coherent, you're really sustaining your health. The longer you can do that, the better.
And that leads me into the topic of Surf to 100. As I was researching you, I came across the website of Surf to 100. I saw videos of yourself and of Felipe and of Tom, and I saw the thoughts and ideas that are behind the Surf to 100. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, so I was in Roti, Indonesia. I still go every year, but Roti, Indonesia about 6 years ago. And Felipe, I used to surf with in Duke meets, like back in this.
We should say who Felipe is.
Felipe Pomar, he's the first, the first Peruvian world champion in 1965. And he's been on the North Shore since I believe 1963. And I just remember Felipe always being out at sunset or Waimea or whatever. He was one of the main crew. Anyway, I surfed with him many, many times. We used to surf together on the North Shore in the early 60s, middle 60s, later 60s, and then we sort of went our own ways. And then I hooked up with him, I think it was 2017 or 18. I ran into him in Roti, in Indonesia. And would have been probably like 70, or 72 or something. But I mean, he was, for a 72-year-old man, he was catching every wave. He was like really impressive, And I remember going to Felipe, like, how are you doing this? Anyway,
We want the secret.
yeah. Felipe had some supplement strategies, and he shared with me. And then we got back to Hawaii, and he introduced me to one of his better friends, Tom Woods, who had been in the youth business or health business for 30 years, So the three of us got together, and we're going, wow, this, we're all sharing different things we had learned. And Felipe sort of came up with this thing where he goes, yeah, I'm going to surf to 100, And I went, yeah, right, No, I'm just being honest. I just thought, good luck. And then I started thinking about it, and I was going, well, wait a minute, every generation, people are living longer, and so why can't you surf longer? So we came up with this. It was all of our passions, because we're all, in our later years, and we've gone, right, the three of us want the same thing. We all want to surf longer, have longevity, feel better. So we came up with this Surf to 100 concept, and here we are.
I think it must have to do a lot with the incredible level of fitness that yourself and Felipe and Tom, I mean, I don't know Tom, but I assume for Tom as well. I remember listening to an interview with you talking about surfing at sunset, and how if you lost your board at sunset, you had to swim in, get your board, paddle back out again, and that could take 40 minutes or more. So you became very proficient at not losing your board. But that kind of exercise, that water person, that waterman level of exercise, which you've been doing for many, many years, that must contribute in some way to your longevity, your level of fitness, as long as you can keep that level up, yeah?
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Like I was fortunate. Felipe was very fortunate, and Tom Woods is the same. So we're like-minded people, and we love what we're doing, and we have a passion for it, and we just like to keep doing it as long as possible.
And where does diet fit in with all of this? Are you vegetarian? Do you eat animal protein? How do you approach food intake, for example?
I'm a little different there because I'm not like a vegetarian. I'm not really strict on my diet, but obviously you have to have some common sense. You can't eat a lot of fat, or I don't eat any dairy products. I try to eat obviously fresh foods.
Yeah.
Fresher the better. Of course, vegetables and fresh foods, but I'll eat a little meat, a little chicken or fish or whatever. I try to really stay away from sugar.
Yeah.
Sugar's death. You know, sugar's really, I mean, you can see in America all the diabetes too and all the obesity, and it's like, I mean, just, God, I think it's one just supersized me Coke or something has 120 grams of sugar or something. So sugar, I really try to stay away from it, but you can't do everything perfectly. So I just try to, my diet, I just try to use some common sense. I do take a lot of supplements, a lot of different vitamins and minerals and everything. And then I try to get some exercise every day, and I try to surf every day if I can. If I can't, I go for a walk or something. And weight's really important as you get older. You
Right.
not carry weight. If you have excess weight, you will not go the distance. You have to get strip off the weight.
So how do you keep your mental agility as well? What do you do there?
I travel really a lot. What can I say? I do. I travel a lot. I'm kind of in a lot of places. I really interact with a lot of people internationally. Like we're serving till 100 thing, we're constantly coming up with interesting ways to. I'm 70. I'm going to be 76, so it's like not easy. And I remember when I was at one NUSA contest, longboard contest or something. I forget, in the 90s or something, and Rabbit K. Kai, who was an older key surfer who actually gave me some lessons and stuff when I was a little 12-year-old kid. And he used to surf, Jeff, sit over here and this and stuff, but I surfed with him in this NUSA contest, and I think I was 50 and he was 75, and I was just, he almost beat me, and I was just going, holy cow, man. I thought, I really had to surf hard to just kind of not have him beat me, So I was really impressed with that. Just went, wow, Rabbit 75, and at the time he was still surfing Sunset, big Sunset and stuff, really a strong man. Anyway, so just trying to continue to surf at an older age takes a lot of time.
So the plan from here?
The plan from here is just, it's like keep doing what I'm doing as long as possible. I was telling you earlier, like I've had definitely some mountains and some valleys in my life.
As we all have.
Yeah. And, but I've had a great life, so if I can just keep doing what I've been doing, and if I can surf, if I can just keep surfing as long as I can, I'll be very, very happy.
Well, I really think you've been an inspiration for people, not just for what you've done in the past, but for what you're doing now, and hopefully what you're going to do in the future as well. So I really do appreciate you taking the time to do this.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome to me.
Cheers.